welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. Daily Brief, put on your briefs. It's time to get daily. What? No. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Happy, what day is it? Today is Wednesday, hump day. I suppose we'll have our fun crypto show tonight with Ben and Paul. Actually, crypto's not looking too bad here. I mean, I don't know whether we're ready to start a new bull run here or not, but we were looking a little dangerous there, but things are looking a little bit better. But interesting looking at the breadth of the market. We were just commenting on this before we got the video going, that we're getting awfully close to some sort of major pivot in the market here. You can see everything's all washed out and getting washed outer as the days go by. And we are in major oversold condition here on our oscillator. So I wouldn't be surprised if over the next week or two you get a pretty dramatic turn here in the markets, and get ready. I will say that actually I was posting in the lounge recently that some of the celestial people that I like to follow on social media and stuff are all barking about how we're coming into a pretty tough little window here. Aspects and all that kind of fun stuff. So strap on your seatbelts. Next couple weeks should be an interesting tell here in the market. And if you can think out into sort of middle to the end of March, I suppose that, the seasonal equinox is coming up here pretty soon. So the world should look a little bit different through this pivot. Had some more econs, of course, come out, sort of suggesting that, probably the headline here is probably the best thing for you to see. Where are we here? ISM manufacturing data came in a little bit lower than expectations. You can see kind of a mixed bag in stock performance. We had Europe a bit softer on the day on some pretty strong inflation numbers there. Germany, inflation still sitting at 8.7%. Of course, they're dealing with the whole energy price issue with you-know-who over there in Eastern Europe. I don't know whether we had really any blatant inflationary shocks here today. I think more just kind of like economic data. Meh. Interestingly enough, the raise of interest rates is definitely going to bite into things like business. But what I think's happening here is a huge part of our inflationary problem is a huge portion of the probably even the world economy, but definitely the U.S. and de facto Canada, sort of little cousin. Huge part of our economy is this housing industry and the housing market. And we've always said anytime any industry gets to more than about 35% of an economy, that's got trouble written all over it. And unfortunately, this interest rate policy, I think, is more good. It's actually more run by Jupiter-Saturn crosses and those long-term cycle relationships. And there was really nothing the Fed could do, or any of these central banksters, when we go through these massive dips. Historically, interest rates don't go to zero. That's interestingly enough, if you actually lived and traded and worked through this environment, you'll probably tell your grandkids about this. I remember when the interest rates went to zero, and man, the whole world was going crazy with sickness talk. So, it's we're definitely going through a historical window here, no doubt about it. But anyway, data coming out today, kind of lazy. If anything, it almost felt like the stock market, especially down in the States, was getting ready to ramp up, and people were feeling bullish. I even saw overnight, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the Chinese, they reported their factory orders were sort of coming back online, and things were uppy. You can see over there I mean, Shanghai was just up a little bit. Sensex, I think that is basically an Asian proxy. It was up a big chunk. Not big chunk, 1%. But nonetheless, they were feeling a little more optimistic. Then the inflation data came out of Europe, and they all went, "Oh, geez, horrible! So almost 9% inflation still." Then the Americans came out and said, "Well, we're not really, getting killed by inflation right now, but you can definitely see the interest rate increases are starting to have a bite." And if anything, we're probably going to see the propensity for the Europeans to raise their interest rate rise with the fact that the inflation problem is still very, very sticky over there. So there's your economic backdrop. We also had out today EIA crude stocks. Not shocking. Remember, we went through this funny little period where we had just absolutely insane builds, like 16 million barrel build in the crude supplies. What the hell's going on here? I suppose if we get either a drawdown or a build of less than 500,000 barrels, you can see, the writing's on the wall. That's going to be a big fat M, and that theoretically should be bullish of energy. Warehouse stockpiles are not piling up. In fact, they're drawing them down. That hasn't actually confirmed yet. Like with 1.16 here, we're not quite through that M pattern. But this is a really good example where you can actually use technical analysis to analyze fundamental information. And I suppose all our harmonics gurus on the site probably look at this little W within this massive M and go, hey, that's a harmonic. Anyway, so, how does this play out over time? Only time will tell. It's a very volatile number here. But it's interesting to see that it looks like inventories are sort of topping out. And of course, the interesting thing with energy is that this is actually when the seasonal trade is supposed to start. The old adage goes, you buy your unleaded the middle of February, you sell it the middle of May, you made money 9 out of the past 10 years. At least that's how the sort of commodities broker pitch goes. So seeing a top in inventories and us starting to draw down supplies, it seasonally would make sense. And actually interesting, something that kind of is a little bit bothersome, especially if you're a sort of a tech fan, is natural gas prices. We had our stock pickers club meeting last night. I don't know whether natural gas prices are really, we looked at some of the stocks, and some of the stocks like Cenovus is a big natural gas company here in Canada. It could set up a bullish bot, but it's not really looking too optimistic right now. But, just the point, where the hell's my natural gas? There it is. This thing's cheap. It's been knocked down. You've heard Powell talk about how we got the commodity price inflation part of the equation under control. But is this thing actually starting to try and reverse back to the upside? And actually, I was a little surprised. It's not really the best looking breakout there. I thought I remember I saw things like engulfing bars the other day on this thing. I don't really see it there now. But, where the heck this thing ultimately bounces to, you can see there's huge gaps up top. So if the energy trade actually starts getting going in earnest, oh boy, get ready, folks. We like to look at this one site for seasonality studies. And one thing I did notice here, and it kind of jumped out at me, I was a bit surprised, natural gas. Its seasonality window actually starts the middle of March and goes right on through June. So are we going to get another, the problem here is do you want to do you want to take a short bet on a market that looks like that, and knowing that we're heading into its seasonally favorable time of year? I don't know whether I necessarily want to buy that there. Maybe we'll see a bit more bullish structure develop over this next 2 or 3 weeks, but hate to say it, to me that looks like pullbacks are buying opportunities kind of idea. And then, as I said just a moment ago, this is actually the seasonal trade where you want to buy your unleaded the middle of February. Notice, hey, that looks like a big fat W. You want to sell it into the middle of May, which might be up into this area. And you can see 50% of this range should take us back up to 3 and change. So at 264, last time we looked at this, I was saying, oh, geez, it's going to be about a 35% increase in prices. Well, now I suppose we're still looking at about 20% increase in prices, over the next few months. So is that going to kick the poop out of the inflation hawks and start to jack in more inflation pressure into the system here in North America? It wouldn't surprise me. Did notice the bonds kind of took it on the chin here. You can see they're rolling over nastily. Suppose this is the long bond. There's a half-hour chart. See, the short end of the curve is still making lower highs and lower lows. And it's not really like the econs are coming out like crashy. The econs themselves, they're either relatively stable or they're actually increasing. Like I said, we had Chinese manufacturing coming out slightly bullish. So it's going to be tough to make the argument that interest rates can go a heck of a lot lower here now in the short term. These are bond prices, so interest rates are the inverse. So M's unfortunately mean that interest rates are going up. So this is like the 2-year bond. There's a little M in there. There's a little M in there. There's a little M in there. A bigger M that's trying to form. Don't really have M there or there. So it's almost like the very short end of the curve and the very long end of the curve are trying to start trending for higher interest rates, and the middle part of the curve is actually kind of just waffling right now. But nonetheless, in the context of the bigger picture, you can see we're going from the upper left to the lower right, which unfortunately lower bond prices means higher interest rates. So this problem, the whole reason why this whole economy started to go down the pooper there a year or so ago, it hasn't changed. Nothing's really changed there. And unfortunately, with all these little M's that you see coming in here, I have a feeling these guys, the bond ghouls, they see what's happening in the energy market. And especially, we've had this great reprieve in natural gas prices, but now what? Can you expect another massive drop in natural gas prices? I don't think so. And considering the seasonality trade, be careful. You might just get a nice counter trend rally. But the interesting thing about this, and maybe we'll talk about this in the Afterparty show, we did look at some of the big natural gas stocks, and they look a little bit suspect, meaning they probably sold, like this time last year, they sold into this rally, and they probably sold like a few years of production out because prices were just so juicy. Now they're not going to be able to do that. Right? They've knocked the stuffing out of price. You can't really forward sell. So all of their forward sell contracts are probably, coming due. And then the question is, okay, well, what's their profit margin going to look like going forward? And ironically enough, there's actually a name in the crypto space that's actually extremely similar to that, and that's this Silvergate. So same sort of thing here. The Silvergate's trying to get its act together and clean up the company. It went absolutely insane here as, like the prospect of staking coins for their clients. There's that 11,000% annualized interest rate. API returns. I hope everybody in the space realized what a trap that shit is. So next cycle, for heaven's sakes, when you start hearing about these absolutely over-the-top annual APIs, 10,000%, API and stuff, that's, there's an old adage in the market. If something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And I would not buy any of that Luna stuff, even though it was like, hey, we're guaranteeing like 20% on your fiat balances and stuff like that. No way I was going to touch that because I just knew in the back of my mind, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So this is the same sort of thing. Stock went, it was like $5, $10 a share down at the bottom. Took it all the way up to 200 on this sort of 11,000% API. Then, of course, all of that crap unwinds. Interesting to read in the news rags here today. Another one of SBF's buddies basically is going to throw him under the bus. FTX executive is third to plead guilty in cooperation deal. So now they're going to just, all of Sam's BFFs are all going to one by one be brought up on the stand to just throw him under the bus. It's so sad. And I think now, like the total number of years now, this is awfully shady, and is there going to be like political crap going on here? But if they do throw the book at him, and he has to serve out his entire term, I think they said here something he's like facing 155 years. Yeah, could face in prison up to 155 years. So. I don't know. Hey, this will be interesting to compare and contrast how he gets handled versus somebody like Ulbrich, right? Who I think that's his name. Who was the guy who ran Silk Road, and of course they threw him in jail and basically threw away the key. Who knows if he'll ever get out? Anyway, so what I see happening in Wall Street now, of course, is, then this is a good example, Silvergate, beg your pardon, crypto bank. I think they're actually sort of getting ready that the bank is going to go back to this business model where, they're just providing baseline services, normal, boring bank returns, no more of this, 10,000% API. But the irony of all that is once everybody gets used to that, then we're going to start a whole new cycle and do it all over again. So keep your eyes peeled. I mean, this thing isn't a buy. In fact, actually, it looks like it just M'd out here. So boom, boom, boom. That's a sell signal there. So I don't really, this is not like buy the stock, you're going to get rich tomorrow. But I would definitely keep an eye on it for the next cycle. And, probably an idea to go and just buy back the shares that I sold up top here if we do get back down into this sort of $5, $10 area. Anyway, actually, we had a lot of fun last night in the Stock Pickers Club comparing BITO, which is the bullish Bitcoin ETF. Of course, I ranted at you guys endlessly about the criminal nature of the securitization of this asset and Bitcoin, ETFs and all that, and the horrible behavior of the derivatives traders through this. I guess right now, if I'm looking at this just on first blush, I'm kind of thinking diamond now, which is good because diamond doesn't necessarily mean bullish or bearish. It means consolidation, so something along those lines. And interesting enough, if we get a big fat M that comes in here, obviously, we're heading down. But we could very easily W out here, and this is just a midpoint consolidation, and up we go. So, and it's interesting to watch the Bitcoin price. 4-hour basis, we're looking very heavy there. Of course, coming into the weekend, things were looking kind of dumpy. Cleaned up. I mean, that is technically a W there. So if it is a W and we're heading higher, good chance they might take this thing up top again. And, if we just do simple Foggenbaums, anytime you see a W, you can start drawing these chaos numbers. Interesting how 2.618 just basically takes us right back up against all these highs. And you've heard me say before, there's somebody on the site who's asking about liquidity events. Well, you could argue that, or liquidity pools, right? You could argue there's probably quite a juicy liquidity pool right up in here where there's a whole bunch of stop loss orders from people that are short. And if they can bump this thing up into that area, probably a whole bunch of chaos is going to come into the market. That wouldn't surprise me. Let's see. What else can we sort of add here in this market summary piece here for you? It was interesting watching, those econs that came out of the States this morning. They really knocked the stuffing out of the market. I do run a day trading plan, um, but I just didn't have any levels come in here today. So what just maybe a quick boo of what I do to set up my day trading. I will literally come in and I like to do the micro contracts because then I can put on multiple contracts and I'm not freaked out about how much money I'm risking. But I just simply like to draw horizontal support and resistance off of previous levels that were obviously pivot points. So that paints an area that I can be looking for pivots. Maybe this is some sort of head and shoulders. This is a neckline, so we look for a rally up into this area and then back off. So couldn't do anything on the gold. We sure came close this morning, though. Right into some horizontal levels and then backed off. So I really couldn't do anything there. Crude, it was interesting. Same sort of thing. We're coming in about an hour or so ago. We came into a level there. But just didn't have anything set up concrete for me. The level, you can see it there. I had Willie Stupid, so technically it was overbought. Not the best looking div, but I think actually that's set up. So there is those levels noted. And actually, I was just waiting. Can I please have the market jump up above my standard deviation bands of the VWAP? Had that happened, then I would have probably been all over this. This fractal right here, I was considering it, but so far away from the horizontal support and resistance levels and far away from the VWAP band, I couldn't really take the trade. But it actually kind of looks like this is a bearish ABCDing now. So now maybe we need to explore a bit to the downside. So it would have been a half decent level. And then the stock market, stock market's all over the map. We did actually come down into a level. And I was really surprised at this. If you're here to sort of learn and take notes and looking for ways to become better trader again. I like the idea of hunting against 4-hour levels. You can see we had a key level there. They took it out just briefly. It was interesting on that event when they took it out. The headlines right across the board were, oh my God, the sky's falling. The Dow's down. Oh, it's all. I think I had on the screen there a moment ago. The market was coming off. And actually, I think the Dow even put in a big old fat M top. But, gnarly pit traders, ironically enough, that's actually a half decent trade level. And if you have any sort of signs of divergence down there, then you might want to take a chance. So, kind of like what I showed you with the gold and the crude, right? We draw up our levels to get the day started. I would prefer, ideally, and this is just me, that a horizontal support and resistance level lines up with an ATR level. Because then I've got killer level. So I absolutely love the idea of hunting shorts up against this area here. Long here, you can see where ATR is. It's still quite a bit lower. Do have bearish structure working. Moving averages are bearish, so it's awfully tough. But what I wanted to point out, you don't see this every day. So this is kind of a fun little tidbit for you. Notice on that event window, we're down at ATR bands. Told you I love those as trade location, standard deviation. Didn't really have much of a bull div other than actually the div started way over here. So, a little bit wishy-washy, but I couldn't believe this candle when I saw it. Not a outright key reversal. You're not going to see key reversals too often on a 3-minute chart. But one hell of an engulfing bar. So the candlestick people, they would love that bar there. So this candle body opened up lower than this body here. Not a key reversal. We can't call it key reversal because we didn't open up below this candle's low. But nonetheless, huge engulfing bar. So it's kind of difficult to take a trade at that level because then you're just going to have to risk against the low. But you tell me. Would that have been a half decent idea? So, maybe file this under. Beamish didn't really show us any killer trades or anything to take, but he did try to show us the significance of things like engulfing bars. So there is a 2-to-1, boom, 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 move back to the VWAP. I love that trade setup. That's seems to be a really good sort of thing that I have in my repertoire these days. And big ass engulfing bar, huge move right back up. So it was interesting because on that ISM data, you can see the double top. They had the whole damn market cranking down. Looked like Bitcoin was about to roll over. You can see the money flows. The bears were coming out. And then all of a sudden, the damn market just stopped on a dime and went screaming straight up. And I hate to say it, like I've been putting out tweets recently. This has got to be one of the toughest trading environments that I've seen in a long time. And I put out a tweet the other day just simply saying, um, just be careful. This is just vicious. That's the only way to describe this. Is they're just tearing the kids' hearts out, back and forth, back and forth. Put in a W. All right, market structure. Let's go. And bang, and slam you all out. I mean, it's just vicious what they're doing here. And yet again today, same thing. Just nasty, nasty price action. Where the hell's the damn chart? So, we go back to the Bitcoin chart, maybe a little lower time frame. Here, this is 81 minutes, but I think I have my 27-minute chart, which has all my levels and stuff drawn on it. I mean, big, 2.5% rally on the day. So I suppose if you're a bull, rock and roll. Thought I had the, oh God, I hate when I do this. There's too many damn charts going. Do I have it over here? Here it is. I think this is what I wanted. Yeah. So this was fascinating because, there's some guy on the interneting who's always talking about 61.8 to 78.6 fibs. So, they slammed the market down, of course, ran the stops, big FU market, and then ran these guys just to piss everybody off. And then just turned it around and straight up here through the Asian session overnight. And I think this was on the sort of the scuttlebutt and the media and stuff that I was reading this morning was, China's manufacturers are coming back online and the economic juggernaut that is China is back in play. I mean, everybody seems to have completely forgotten about Evergrande and the fact that their real estate market is a joke. But, oh well, I guess that's what you get for being Winnie the Pooh fans. So the whole damn market just pivoted and ratcheted straight up, and we just banged right into this low to high. Actually, I guess maybe this is just low to low. That low and that low and that low. So pretty pivot, kind of an interesting trend line. I don't know how relevant it is, but notice this structure here. I was interested to see how the market was going to act when it came down, and it just blew through there. And then notice we rallied right back up into that level. Then we backed off away from it, and look at what happened last night against that level. So there's something significant about this trend line. I don't exactly know what, but something. This seems to be an incredibly important pivot. And then look at what they did here on the U.S. Econs that came out this morning. Big old fat head and shoulders top. And I guess coming like full circle, we actually took a real good look at this BITO last night in our Stock Pickers Club. Let's see if I can find the charts. TRISOF. What time is it? 9:30. Well, hopefully you guys are getting some half decent value out of this. David did absolutely fantastic job of charting last night. Yeah, and the Afterparty, I think I'll go through the names that he did look at. Here is the bear ETF on Bitcoin. I think this was our general consensus that it appears that this bear ETF has had 1, 2, 3 levels on the megaphone traded to the downside. This is the Bitcoin bull run. And then 1, 2, maybe a rally up into here. Remember, this is the bear ETF. So if it goes up, that means Bitcoin price going down. And then we also drew Foggenbaums. And I kind of like the idea. Number one, this right against the POC. This appears to be a pivot here. So we should see a pretty interesting battle in here. And I think that's what you're going through in the market right now. Like I showed you that 4-hour chart. Huge battle here. But if this thing's to be believed, then really we should rally up to 2.618. But if this is a megaphone, then we probably actually need to come all the way up into this line up top here in this moving average. So just be forewarned. This is a new bull market. We go straight up from here. This is still a very, very dangerous market. And the Bitcoin bear ETF, you can see this W. Until we actually M out here, I have to think that this guy's still catching a bid here. Then if we look at the exact opposite side, this is the Bitcoin bullish ETF. Kind of looking toppy within the context of a bigger double top. And then, of course, Foggenbaum's 2.618s. Key horizontal support and resistance. I mean, are we just working our way down this massive head and shoulders pattern back down to the neckline? My inclination is to say yes. Of course, never a good idea to sort of get into the business of predicting. At the same time, too, we could very easily rally right back up top here. I would say that, this is almost like a coin toss. You can see it's about equal distance for a counter trend rally back up into reload zones, maybe even a test of that left shoulder high. But it's also equal distance down into this neckline. And look at where we are. We're right at the POC, If anything, my old boss, Johnny Hoagland from Top Step days, he would absolutely hate me if I took a trade at the POC, either one way or the other, because that's where everybody else in the world is taking trades. So that's always dangerous to be just following along with the herd. So I'm not really excited about taking a trade at these current levels, either on the bull or bear ETF or on the corn itself. Things look just a little bit, And I think, as I said, and I don't know whether I retweeted it or not, but there was a guy, Crypto Dominus, or I don't know what the hell his name is. Anyway, he was putting out celestial stuff, and he was saying specifically that Wednesday, today, was actually supposed to be sort of a big celestial pivot. And then, of course, now we're into the beginning of March. You guys have heard me bark about the Ides of March. I'll put the calendar over here. So I'm a little bit worried for the next couple of weeks here, folks. I don't like the feel of this market here. It feels trappy. It feels like, oh my God, if the market breaks out, we better go FOMO and just pile in and just buy, and you're going to get your head handed to you. Feels very dangerous. Isn't that interesting? So on the lower time frame, you can see we're kind of double topping out here now. Ooh, look at that bear div. Ooh, and Willie's stupid. Oh boy. Oh goodness, this is up and down like you know what. I've said it a few times. All right, so I think that's about all the summary really I can give you here today. In the after party, we'll go through a few names that jumped out at me, especially there's a couple little juniors that I'm getting kind of interested in. Anytime you see a stock that looks like that, Brian's probably going to get interested with only 20, 30 million out. This is another one. So, maybe in the after party, we'll dig into these a little bit. We did have a few requests to look at gold and gold names. So a couple of the bigger ones. This one happens to be, I think, in Peru. Investing in Central and South America is always a bit of a challenge. But anyway, we'll take a look at that one in the after party show. And then this one was one of David's favorite names in the gold space. So we did look at a few gold stocks as well last night. All right. Little, I guess, just to finish off, I didn't really have anything dramatic come out of the altcoin space. I think my general message to the audience on the site is this: kind of like what I was saying with the POC, and is this really a good trade location to take trades? I don't think so. As I'd said there earlier, we'll be doing the crypto show tonight with Ben and Paul. So it'd be interesting to see what Paul is up to. Did he take that long off of the mountain man level there? It wouldn't surprise me. In fact, actually, it was kind of cool. On Top Step, they were tweeting out comments that actually crude oil used to be the most popular traded product on their platform, but now it's the NASDAQ. So that's an interesting tell. And I even put on their Mountain Man for the win, because Mountain is old Brandon Rigo, a guy I used to trade at the prop firm with, and one of the best crude traders I ever knew. And he used to just religiously trade Mountain Man 61.8 fib levels. So what I do see here is I think that we're kind of in a Mountain Man ping pong match right now with Bitcoin. And I could very easily see us just bound back and forth between these two extremes for the next little while. That's kind of my hunch. And interestingly enough, I think Ethereum looks almost exactly the same. Yeah. So again, Mountain Man up to Mountain Man. It just feels like we're in a trading range kind of market for now. And as I said, what I'm a little bit, I'm sort of torn here right now, because I know for certain that we are getting close to a very significant longer term pivot. When RES breadth indicator looks like that, you should be getting ready to go long. Doesn't mean it's now. They haven't crossed back up yet. But this market is oversold. And of course, buy when it snows, sell when it goes. We're still in the middle of this seasonal trade. And all the Wall Street guys, they all want to get paid. So they'll bid this crap up into like May, June. So, when you see that image should speak to you very loudly. If anything, that's probably a perfect short for Google or YouTube or whatever. And then add that to that when you come down to the histogram and you see that the whole damn world is now getting oversold. And still, if you are watching this, there's something wrong with our medium-term universe. Something's not printed correctly there. Never been closer. Still work in progress. But anyway, this is the point. And interestingly enough, look how crypto now is starting to get washed out as well. So all I'm saying to you is, now is not the time to get uber bearish. You might see some FU moves against the lows. Like, keep in mind, the S&P 500 does technically have a sell pattern working off of the daily charts, but we're coming into those profit objectives here, right? I mean, you can see we made a lower low, and I told you earlier, everybody was freaking out that, day traders, that was probably an interesting trade level there. And I wouldn't be surprised if we, work our way down. Remember I said second week of March is supposed to be a bit of a challenging period. But it might just be something like this, right? Where you get this big thumping, and of course the media, everybody, all the, 1%, all the oligarchs own the media. So they get the media all jazzed to convince everybody to sell. And then sadly, you're actually selling into their buy orders. It drives you crazy. But anyway, so that's the kind of environment that we're in. I mean, I don't know how this ends. I don't think there's a buy signal here today. But I think we should all respect the fact that we're probably closer to some sort of pivot low than we are the pivot high. I think that's probably the best note to leave off on, is we're getting awfully oversold here. And just at some point down the road, probably in the next week or two, we're going to pivot back up, and just be ready for it. All right, I think we'll leave the summary at that. Hope you got some value out of it. PMA for the win. All the best. Hugs and kisses. I guess I'll see everybody for crypto show tonight. We got Julian on Baby Powder Report tomorrow. hit the like button, subscribe, ring our bell if you want to be notified. And as my marketing specialist says, help us get 8,000 subscribers. If I understand correctly, we are sitting at 7,010. So actually this number is moving up quite a bit with our recent sort of redoing of our format. So that's kind of cool. But the tell a friend, I mean, hopefully you got a pretty sort of real summary of the market, and you get a pretty good idea of what we're doing over at TRI. If you find some value in this, pass the word along. Help us get to 8,000 subs. I've even got a specific script I'm supposed to say here. We are so close. So subscribe now. It's never been a better time to buy. What? No, I'm not asking you to buy. All I'm asking you to do is to subscribe. Anyway, so if you like that, hit the like button. If you got value from that, hit the like button. And after you've given a good... Oh, I'm not supposed to say that part. Sorry. I'm just kidding. All right, so if you enjoyed that, join, subscribe, tell a friend, all those kind of fun things. And let's see if we can get this message, this PMA message out there into the world and help make this world a little bit better of a place. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. The only thing everybody says, bye for now.